I want to share about parental resentments and then go a little bit into like Kabbalah. So here we go. Resentments that are worth sharing to get it off the chest. So my mother would shun me when I was a teenager and young adult in front of my neighbors, school friends, family, and strangers. And I had to sleep on my parents' floor while I was panicking as a child, and every cent my mother held over me, pennies. And I remember my mother verbally abusing me when I moved back for college, and fist fights with her. She was always the victim. She would beat me up, and she would lock me out of the house. And my father would also lock me out. My father would make me jealous when he favored my sisters, and my father didn't appreciate my monthly visits when I worked. And my mother would hire a Jewish man to hold me down and humiliate me so she could control me. I used to get locked in the bathroom or my bedroom with no light bulb. My father didn't care when I would hurt myself. For example, once I cut my hand on a tuna can and he just didn't care. My mother would call the police on me when I didn't go to school. And my birthdays were ruined. I didn't even get birthdays. On Shabbat, the Sabbath, my father, which was supposed to be my day off from school and responsibility, and instead enjoy and receive, he would control me and abuse me, whether it was davening, like praying, or the food, the cholent or the fish, the yoich, which is the juice, the broth of the fish. It was not what I wanted to eat. There was this traumatizing bedwetting device that my father created or augmented for me, and it would go in the underwear and it would alarm for the whole house. My mother hired someone to take me to the psych ward in the middle of the night. It was her coworker. She just kept using people to hurt me, to invade my room in the middle of the night and take me out. And they had these Jewish police. You could tell them whatever you want and they'll listen to you. That's what used to be done. There used to be not justice in my life. My father was very stingy and greedy with me, with all food, and I didn't get the help when I was in addictions. And my life was at risk. My parents did not help me with finances or with allowing me or teaching me how to express grief, fear, or anger. There was silent treatment, stonewalling. I had to write notes. They wouldn't talk to me. There was no approval, only if I did exactly what they wanted. And even then, constant negative noticing and pretty much always criticized instead of invalidated. So I took a Kabbalah class a few years ago. It's called Kabbalah 1 at the Kabbalah Center. And we learned the body is just a flesh garment, and only 1% of reality is the physical, external, sensory world. And humility illuminates it. So when we are humble, in 4 stages, which is consciousness, then education and information, then actions, and then letting go. In an elevated experience, we need only holy space, preparation to receive, and self-honor. So there's this funnel, which is a lot coming in versus just a straw, like a tube. So there's this wringing a sponge, wringing it out to open it, and this is the I am. So like attracts like. We have to be connected with the Messiah energy, the light that comes from inside and lights up the world and redeems, the creator energy. And as a giver, there's takers, but a taker is small, it needs to receive. But the giver there's an effulgence, a luminescence. Instead of accepting what is, instead of focusing on the self and letting go of the conditioning, the external values, which allow us to do things from a genuine, real place for others, is the inner generator, the light and love and energy and freedom from suffering. We can accept what is and focus on letting go of these external conditions, and then we can do things from a real place. So that is renewable energy. It's sustainable. And the values we force on the world and rely on for validation, they leave us dependent on something that brings suffering, disconnection, attachment, unmet expectations, and self-loathing. So what are some Kabbalistic values? What is this about being the receiver and then also the giver? Until we're just vibrating, right? Extreme responsibility. We move from being a fan watching to a player. We receive all the lessons and messages. Nothing is random or sudden or a mistake or a coincidence. And life happens for us versus to us. There's no victim blaming. Another Kabbalah value for being that wire, right? Like the sponge or whatever. And then wring it out, like keep coming and coming till we become the wire from heaven to earth. Is rejection, being able to hear and say no, seeing the good and the worth, and trusting our gut, letting rejection and no eventually bring us to the right yes. And this also includes we're able to reject an immediate impulse where we're capable of delaying gratification and not indulging it that second, every second. And then uncertainty is to witness the experience without needing to identify with the state. So like doubt is an emptiness, it's a connection. It's connection is the other right way. It's like limited to say we don't trust the skills or that we have to know, but there's like this deeper doubt that it's not going to be okay even if we don't know. So we could, doubt is we could be doubting that which we must. In other words, we could favor this opening to the infinity or the unlimitedness, where with I don't know, and in the I don't know, we don't need to cover it up. We could be genuine. I don't know. Who's the I that doesn't know this? The one who's evolving and learning and growing and receiving, and more will be revealed. So being able to handle uncertainty and rejection and extreme responsibility, and finally failure, which is not needing others to like or approve, is empowering to our process because we can see the growth and the lessons instead. And as we're constantly adjusting and to become more successful, it's not necessarily that we need this bite-sized pieces of somebody catering to us. Hope this was interesting. Be well.